All right. I think we're about to go live at the top of the hour. So we're just waiting for 2 minutes. My name is Katie McKean. I'm the community manager here at Reversing Labs, and I'm very excited to be sharing a major update we have for you today with our Spectra Assure community. So we're giving it 2 more minutes at the top of the hour. We don't want to spill the tea too soon, but with me today, before we start spilling the tea, I have Deval Shah, Senior Product Manager here at Reversing Labs. So, hi, Deval. How are you?
I am doing good, Katie. Very excited because I'm going to share some exciting updates to our community product. So, looking forward to our announcement.
Yes. I think this is a great way to bring some more fireworks and just keep that celebratory vibe going from 4th of July. So, hopefully, it's met with great fanfare. I know a lot of folks that I've spoken to in the community will be looking forward to what we have to share today.
Absolutely. Looking forward to this.
Yes. So before we dive in, Deval, do you mind just, before we get into the update we have today, do you mind just telling us a little bit more about what Spectra Assure Community is?
Sure. So, let me take a few step back. Reversing labs. We've been at the forefront of file and data security. There are two main product lines. There is the malware and threat analysis. That's main product line, and then there is Spectra Assure, which is an enterprise product. Helps enterprises secure their software and helps them prevent software supply chain attacks. So as part of that product line, we have a community initiative wherein we pre-scan open source packages, whether it be for npm, pypy, NuGet, Ruby gems, and an exciting new update that we'll be sharing pretty soon. That's a way to give back to the community, help make developers make the decisions, pick those packages that are secure, prevent those supply chain threat vectors. So that's in a gist. But I'll double click and dive through like a demo that gives you a better picture of what we all are about for the Spectra Assure community.
Perfect. I think that's a great way to segue in now that we are at the top of the hour. So now that we had that little bit of background about who Reversing Labs is, what the Spectra Assure community is, today is all about VS Code. So as Deval mentioned previously, we already do support PyPI, Ruby gems, NPM, and NuGet. But today we're announcing the launch of VS Code extensions. So VS Code plugins can help boost productivity, right? But they can also introduce risks. So today we're talking about why developers want to vet these extensions for hidden threats so you can code safer and smarter. So Deval, now that the cat's out of the bag on what we're launching today, can you tell us a little bit about why developers should be concerned about VS Code extensions in their development environment? Aren't they all
Absolutely.
from the same marketplace and safe?
Absolutely, Katie, and that's a great question to start with. VS Code, as you know, has become a dominant IDE with over 30 million users the last time I checked. And VS Code Marketplace hosts thousands of extensions that developers routinely install to enhance productivity. But here's the concerning reality. These extensions run with significant privileges on development environment. So, they can access your clipboard, they can read your files, they can make network requests, and even execute system commands. And so what we've seen is our threat research has discovered multiple malicious VS Code extensions that steal that sensitive information like API keys, credentials, and source code. And so a big discovery that we launched today, we shared today morning, and that's on Reversing Labs blogs for threat research, is a sophisticated case where we discovered compromise of a project, which is ETH code. It's a legitimate VS Code extension with 6,000 users that helps Ethereum developers build that smart contracts. And this wasn't a fake extension. This was a trusted, established project that was compromised through a malicious GitHub pull request. And so an attacker used these 2 lines of code that was buried within 4,000 lines of legitimate updates to introduce malicious dependencies. So when you consider that developers often work with production credentials and sensitive code, a compromised extension like ETH code can be the right entry point for major supply chain attacks. And that's one of the reasons we are pretty excited of this launch on Spectra Assure Community.
It's just crazy to me that, it used to be people were just going after repositories or looking for backdoors, but now what we're seeing is actually the dev tooling itself is being compromised. So I think it's great that we're finally supporting something like this so we can help prevent further instances like the one you just mentioned right there. So now that we know a little bit about real world, why we're doing this, how do traditional security tools fall short when it comes to vetting IDEs, vetting IDE extensions, I should say, and plugins?
Absolutely. And so one of the things that we do that's very unique to reversing labs is we look for multiple threat vectors to prevent and provide that holistic kind of software supply chain security coverage. Uh, and kind of what we've seen is traditional security tools have several blind spots when it comes to ID extensions. First I would say is most endpoint security solutions don't deeply analyze browser downloaded packages or marketplace installations. Second, if you were to kind of pick your most popular kind of vulnerability scanner, they're great at kind of focusing on known CVEs, but they miss that unique malicious code or suspicious behaviors where kind of Spectra Assure Community with its holistic view kind of excels. Third, and kind of I would say the most critical is most security tools don't understand the unique context of developer environments. So I would say they would either kind of block everything or allow everything, and kind of missing that context. Kind of that's very crucial to development environments. And finally, I would say is kind of many of the traditional tools, they often require extensions to be installed or executed before they can detect that malicious behavior. And as kind of you and I both know, and everyone on this on the live stream, once you kind of either execute or install, kind of the damage is already done, and kind of that's a big no-no kind of in any kind of environment, right? So, but kind of reversing labs, Spectra Assure's unique static analysis approach can help identify those threats without execution, which is extremely crucial since these malicious extensions can cause the damage the moment they are installed. So
Yeah.
definitely a great kind of a leap forward in kind of helping developers kind of secure the SDLC pipeline.
Yeah, and at different places too, right? So I think that's what's incredible about this. The other thing is I spend a lot of time in these different open source communities speaking with developers, and everybody's always, you know, ranting about CVEs, but it is like you said, there's so many other behaviors on top of that that you need to be aware of, things like malware, which just makes the impact of being able to support VS Code right now so much more important. Um, but enough of me ranting. How does Spectre Assure Community now help these developers evaluate the VS Code extensions before the installation?
Absolutely. And this is, I would say, where we're really excited to announce this new capability. So Spectra Assure Community now provides free comprehensive risk assessments for VS Code extensions that allows developers to kind of check the overall kind of the security of these extensions before they install them. So I'll give a kind of a demo at the end, but kind of what you see on the screen is kind of secure.software. So developers can go to secure.software. That's the URL for our Spectra Assure community platform. And there kind of they'll see a few different options in the drop down. A most prominent one is going to be VS Code extensions, which we are launching today. And essentially kind of our AI driven analysis engine, the same technology that powers enterprise Spectra Assure product, performs a complete security evaluation of the extension package. So we look for 6 assessment categories. We look for malware, tampering, vulnerabilities, license issues, security issues, suspicious network connections. So we look for a 360-degree view across our extension, look for kind of common supply chain threat vectors, and proactively help to prevent those attacks based on kind of the vast network of data that we've been tracking and actively our researchers are looking into. The best part is kind of we've pre-scanned all these different extensions, libraries, DLLs, so developers get a detailed safe report that shows exactly what the risks are if any were to be identified with them. And if we essentially scan all the different versions. So we'll tell you the versions that are green or versions that are yellow or red that you should generally avoid, and go for the green ones that are safe from a software supply chain security standpoint. So I would say kind of, no more guessing and no more hoping for that popular extension to be safe. You can get that concrete security intelligence before you click that install for your next VS Code extension.
And I like that Secure Software has actually kept it simple. So it's like that age-old like idiom, right? Like green means go, red means no, yellow means maybe, right? So we've kept it easy even from that visual standpoint for developers to assess kind of which extension should I go with or not, which is great. So what specific threats can developers detect with the VS Code plugins using this new functionality?
Absolutely. So our analysis covers the full spectrum of software supply chain threats that can hide in VS Code extensions. So a few that I would highlight is, this would include number one, malware detection. So
Yep.
we scan against a massive database of more than 40 billion plus known threats and kind of, help you give that heads up if we are seeing traces or similarity within your VS Code extension of that malicious code. The second I would say is kind of, we're seeing more often is kind of instances of code tampering. So we can identify if an extension has been modified after publication or contain code that doesn't match its stated purpose, right? So essentially kind of, helping you secure the SDLC pipeline even after a code gets shipped or a binary gets shipped. If it has been tampered with, will help you detect those. The third one I would say, again, this can be used for VS Code extensions, is data exfiltration. So kind of, these could be your suspicious network connections. Everything might look good, but your VS extension might be reaching out to a GitHub repository or kind of a suspicious URL and trying to download through a backdoor link and then install kind of, uh, threat vectors that you wouldn't want within your environment. So we look for those webhook URLs. We look for any kind of encoding problems. So kind of a whole range of issues for VS Code extensions. I would also like to highlight kind of, things that we flag is kind of suspicious behaviors. So if your VS Code extension is kind of, key logging or has unexpected file system access or is accessing your webcam or a mic or is kind of, obfuscating kind of code segments or having credential harvesting patterns, we look for a whole range of kind of these suspicious behaviors, and we'll kind of let you know beforehand if we kind of detect those within those extensions. And I would say kind of, being more comprehensive, a few different categories we look for is supply chain indicators. So we would analyze the package, check for the dependency attacks, and validate the integrity of extensions components. And we are seeing a lot more kind of issues with kind of exposed secrets. So we'll scan for those hard-coded API keys, credentials, or other sensitive data that shouldn't be in the extension code. So kind of, we have this multifaceted approach to kind of help you secure not just for CVEs, but for a whole range of attacks that we've seen, kind of, trying to break through that weakest link in the software supply chain security.
I don't know which one of those scares me the most. It could be secrets, it could be Maldor, it could be, the backdoor execution, but all of them I think are a good horror story. So it's good to know that we're there thinking about that and giving that 360 view of these different extensions. What would you say, why is this particularly important for enterprise development teams right now in DevSecOps practices? Why is this relevant?
Absolutely. So enterprise development teams, they face a unique challenge. They need to balance develop productivity with security requirements, right? So VS Code extensions, as we all know, are the productivity multipliers. But your traditional security approaches either block everything or provide no visibility into the risk, right? So how do you kind of balance productivity with security requirements? I would again go back to essentially kind of the research that we released earlier today, the ETH code attack compromise that perfectly illustrates why this would matter for enterprise, right? So again, as I mentioned, this was a legitimate trusted extension with 6,000 plus users, and it was a compromised through a sophisticated supply chain attack. But kind of as you would know, because VS Code auto updates extensions, the malware could have potentially spread to thousands of developer workstations before it got detected, right? So researchers were able to kind of find it, work with the VS Code team, and kind of take down the extension and also work with developers and kind of helping them fix that specific issue. But kind of, enterprise teams, imagine if your developers were using that ETH code for blockchain development. A single compromise extension would have given attackers access to development credentials, API keys, that smart contract code under development, cryptocurrency wallets, private keys, and kind of in the whole CI/CD pipeline access, right? So for DevSecOps teams, this capability, I would say, kind of what we are releasing today with Spectra Assure Community support for VS Code extensions. It fills a critical gap in software supply chain security strategy. So most organizations have vulnerability scanning for application dependencies, but completely miss out on these development risks. And the way I like to think about it is kind of, this functionality scales your security expertise. Something like ETH code compromise would have required that deep technical analysis to understand the malicious code. But now with Spectra Assure and Spectra Assure Community, every developer has access to that enterprise-grade threat intel that can detect these sophisticated attacks automatically.
It's a great answer because let's be honest, everybody is using one of these extensions for the most part, right? So,
Absolutely.
I'm gonna put you on the spot here, Deval. Let's see if you're ready to play. But would you be willing to give us a live demo? So anything goes. We can see what happens. But can you take us to secure.software so we can see Spectra Assure Community in real time and what this VX extension, what we can see in the reports?
Sure. So I guess you can see my screen correctly.
Yep.
So what you're seeing and what I'm sharing is kind of secure.software. This is our open source offering, our kind of free community offering for open source projects. And as we mentioned, kind of you will see support for NPM, PyPI, RubyGems, NuGet, and a brand new support for VS Code. So let me get to untap. So this is essentially kind of what we've done is kind of we pre-scanned a bunch of all the kind of extensions that we can find on VS Code extension. We've run analysis of them. These are kind of available for you to kind of the results are already there, kind of in a pre-scan. So all you have to do is go to secure.software, search for extension you're trying to download. For example, let me pick a more popular example, Prettier Code Formatter. I would imagine kind of it's a very popular VS Code extension, and kind of we pre-scanned and we are highlighting kind of the issues that we found, kind of the behaviors that I mentioned, kind of we are detecting kind of any kind of vulnerabilities that we would detect for this specific package. I don't see any specific vulnerabilities. And kind of the common hygiene, I would say, is kind of what's the installation stats, so kind of the contributors or kind of dependencies that we've detected for this specific package. So this is an example over here. Kind of I can see we flagged some sort of a tampering issue. So we've detected a suspicious application behavior, and kind of I can go deeper and try to get.
Hey, it's a live demo. We were expecting something to go.
Let me not do kind of confirming the human live in the demo, but let me go to a different option over here, a different package that I picked, a Jupyter package. Kind of it's a fairly popular package. It's a top 10 package, and kind of if we look at the installs, it's a fairly popular kind of 93 million installs that we've seen. And again, we've, as I mentioned, we kind of look for the 6 safe assessment categories that includes malware, tampering, vulnerabilities, hardening, licenses, and secrets. So we've looked at the code, we applied the appropriate policies, we've scanned it, and we are flagging all the different issues for you. So it's pretty much, we track all the different versions. So kind of you can choose if this specific version has an issue, you can maybe go back or go in the front to a more recent update. So that's what I had for kind of the demo today. I'll stop sharing. But yeah, happy to answer anything else that you might have.
Yeah. So, Deval, I think we're about at time, but thank you so much for giving us that tour of what this VS Code plugin, what we're looking at, explaining how the technology works, what we're looking for. I think this is great. So, For those of you who are listening in, whether it's on YouTube, LinkedIn, X, please let us know your thoughts. Check out secure.software and go vet your VS Code plugin today. Till next time, guys.
Thank you very much, Katie. And yeah, we are all looking forward to your feedback. So please do let us know. Thank you very much.